We're supposed to be out in the fields. We're supposed to be walking up hills. We're supposed to be looking for animals or gathering vegetables. We're supposed to be doing all these things that our body's designed to do.
Your genes have very little to do with what's going to happen to you.
You have to ask yourself, is my life worth trading for that?
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business.
Living that believing life. Out here living that believing life. Every day we living that believing life. Hustle like we living that believing life. Living life, yeah, so we grinding it out. Every single day we be grinding it out. Hustle like we living that believing life, oh. That believing life, oh.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel is created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So today, let's live your best belief life and learn the 6 habits that you need to stay healthy. Okay, let's kick it off with habit number 1. Spend more time in nature with Joe Rogan.
One of the things that's causing this funk that people are in is that we're living our lives, many of us at least, in these very unfulfilling ways, where you're going to this office with artificial light and you're doing something you don't want to do all day long, and then you get home and you're tired. And on top of that, you're eating shit. You're eating potato chips and you're drinking soda, and your body is just like, what in the is this? We're supposed to be out in the fields. We're supposed to be walking up hills. We're supposed to be looking for animals or gathering vegetables. We're supposed to be doing all these things that our body's designed to do. We're supposed to be in nature.
Yeah.
And nature is like a medicine. Like, it literally is a medicine to you. Like, people that go, you don't have to go hunting. You don't have to go fishing. Just go hike, man. Just go hike up to the top of a mountain and look out. You know, there's a reward that you get from that is intensely, like, soul-filling. Mm-hmm. There's, like, something about, like, when I was in Colorado, and there was this area of Boulder where you drive up one of these roads, and there was this area where you could park, and it was this incredible view, man. And these people just park and just go out there and just look. But you get there and you park and you go, because you would see, you're literally seeing the Continental Divide. These snow-capped mountains in July.
Yeah.
In July, it's covered with snow because those mountains don't give a
Habit number 2, acquire the right eating habits with Stephen Gundry.
What are some of the things you learned through the process over the last couple of years that people were finding out about themselves and discovering about other things? You've got this new book about living longer, longevity paradox. So what were some of the things that you've learned over the last couple of years about health in general with people?
So I think one of the things that was probably one of the most controversial statements in the plant paradox was that it's your bad health is not your fault.
It's your DNA, right? It's your genes.
Yeah, it's your genes and DNA. And I go into a lot of this in the longevity paradox, that in fact your genes have very little to do with what's going to happen to you, in both, in the immediate period and in long term. And there's a big, huge study looking at millions of people around the world and their outcome, looking at their genetics, their DNA, and their DNA has only probably about a 6% influence on you, your health, what's going to happen to you. So that means
including like diseases you might pick up. So why do we always, when we go to the doctor, they say, well, did your father have a stroke or a heart attack? Did your mother have dementia?
So when I ask that question, and I do, what that tells me is that if your mother had diabetes or your father had coronary artery disease, that tells me that if you eat like your parents did, then you will most likely have those diseases, not because you inherited that from your parents, but you learned to eat from your parents. And it actually goes beyond that. Not only did you learn to eat from your parents, but you shared the microbiome, the bugs in your gut that your parents had. In fact, as we talk about in the book, you can take identical twins and raise them apart, And they will actually have microbiomes more in common with the family that they were raised with than their identical twin. And the health outcomes of those identical twins will not parallel genetics. They will parallel the microbiome that they acquired living with that other family.
So you could be separate from your twin for whatever, 15, 20 years, live with different, I guess, health benefits and one more than the other, see each other and almost look different.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can actually, there have been some studies of twins who have been raised apart, and clearly they're identical, but depending on how they ate and their microbiome that they acquired, they can look quite different.
Habit number 3, respect your life with John Asraf.
People have to make a decision what they want to trade their life for.
Yes.
Because every day we're trading our life for the people that we associate with, for the business or job that we have, for what we eat, for the health, for the enjoyment, for the fun, for the experiences. And you have to ask yourself, is my life worth trading for that? If it's not, today is a good day to stop.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
But most people don't think that they're trading their life, for something. They think that, there's tomorrow and there's next week. Really? Well, I have, evidence to prove otherwise, that we have no idea, when the last breath will be.
Yeah. We don't
So let's trade our life every day as it's the most important thing in the world. And not from an ego perspective, from a humble, grateful perspective of, wow, I get another day to live and to enjoy.
I can be grateful
and
for
be
that.
grateful for that, but then to respect it. See, respecting your life means you're going to trade it for things that you feel are worthy of it. Most people, ask themselves the wrong question. They ask themselves, am I worthy of the goal and the dream that I have? And they should be asking themselves, is that goal, that dream that I have worthy of my life? Change the question. And if you say, yeah, I'll trade my life for that, good, then go and do that.
Hey, this is John Asraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15, $20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve. Find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece, and maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. One of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You are not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, rising star.
Habit number 4, set an eating cutoff time with Oprah Winfrey.
The single thing that helped me the most to click was not eating past 7:30. Now, depending on what time you go to bed, you're looking at that. I mean, not eating a grape, not a rice or a crispy, past 7:30. And the thing about it is, I'd started it at 7 o'clock, and then I was killing myself trying to get home. Oh, it's 7:26. I gotta get home. Gotta get home so I can eat.
I remember we'd be talking. She was, I gotta go. I gotta get home and eat.
My cutoff time is coming. But it's singular. For a lot of people who are making bad food choices, if you just do that, that will turn.
There's a lot of magic in that.
Yeah, it's magical. If it's just like you brush your teeth, you say 7:30. I do not eat past 7:30, and the farther up you can move that, the better you get. Now, this is the key. This is what really saved me. I remember you told me this day, we're walking around and I went, why the hell you wait 10 years to tell me that? Okay, Bob said to me, when you cut off your eating at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. He goes, that little gnawing feeling you get, that little gnawing where you feel like, I feel like I need to eat something. He said, that is when you are going into your fat stores. And you can either feed that feeling, give it food, or you can say, oh, this is when my body is going into my fat stores, and it's going to now eat the stored fat. That's what that feeling is. And so what happens with most of us, we try to feed that feeling, and then you wake up and you're fat. So what you really want to look for is that little, and it took 10 years, he was telling me that. We're walking along, I go, you mean that's it? That's it. That little thing that says, I want to eat something. Not I'm starving, but I wish. And most of us, what you do is you go to the cabinet, you open the cabinets, and you start grazing. You kind of go down. This is what I've done before. You say, is it Rice Krispies? No. Is it, maybe some chocolate? No. Let me try half a pork chop. No, that wasn't it either. But that's what you want. You want to feel like when you go to bed at night, you want to feel like, I wish I could eat a little something. And that's the moment when your body's going, we're going to go into your butt now. We're going to pull some up out of the thighs.
Habit number 5, get rid of stress with Joe Dispenza.
As I said, 70% of the time, people live in stress. And living in stress is living in survival. Now, all organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. You know, a deer gets chased by a pack of coyotes. When it outruns the coyotes, it goes back to grazing and the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to order. So you're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, you jam on the brakes, you give them the finger, and then you settle back down and the event is over and boom, now everything's back to normal. But what if it's not a predator that's waiting for you outside the cave, but what if it's your coworker sitting right next to you, and all day long you're turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all your emotional buttons. When you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well? And the answer is absolutely yes. So then, what are the emotions that are connected to survival? Let's name them. Anger, aggression, hostility, hatred, competition, fear, anxiety, worry, pain, suffering, guilt, shame, unworthiness, envy, jealousy. Those are all created by the hormones of stress. And psychology calls them normal human states of consciousness. I call those altered states of consciousness. So then we tend to remember those traumatic events more because in survival, you better be ready if it happens again. And when the survival gene is switched on, you could have 10 really great things that happen to you in your day. And you just have one bad thing that happens and you cannot take your attention off that unhappy thing because the survival gene is switched on.
And habit number 6, the last one before a very special bonus habit, is take cold showers.
today's challenge is to take a cold shower. And you're like, oh, I was loving this guy until he said cold shower. I hate cold showers. Now, why? Let me talk about why, because I don't like cold, period. I don't like cold baths, cold showers, cold environments, but cold could be your teacher. Many of you listened to Great Avail with great response to our episode with Wim Hof. I met Wim over 6 years ago. Wim Hof is the Iceman. If you haven't listened to that episode, please, where he talks about cold is my teacher, where he climbs the Himalayas in his underwear and he swam underneath the Arctic. Amazing, amazing man, but it talks about the power of cold. And if you listen to also my episode on my morning routine, you know one of the things I do every morning is I take a cold shower or an ice bath here. So there are a number of reasons why you want to take a cold shower, and starting with number one, it lowers inflammation. It lowers inflammation. So one of the challenges to your brain, which also is part of your body, are high inflammation levels. And if you listen to our morning routine, we do things like have turmeric tea and such, which sounds really good right after you take a cold shower, by the way. Cold reduces inflammation. It's like you bang your knee on a coffee table. What do? You put ice on it to reduce swelling and inflammation, but we also have inflammation in our body. So cold is very powerful with that. Again, listen to the episode we did with Wim Hof, the Iceman. He's an expert at that because he lives his talk. He actually does it. The second reason why you want to take a cold shower in the morning, I don't go through specifics on how long and such. The second reason is because it's like a nervous system reset. For me, it's better than coffee. When I go into the cold, I feel like after when I come out of it, it's like I'm brand new. And you can attest to this. If you've ever gone into a cold lake before, or just like when you go out in the cold, you come in and you're like, you feel refreshed, it helps to reset your nervous system. The third reason why you do it though, is because you want to get yourself to do difficult things, especially as part of your morning routine. You get yourself to do difficult things. And that's what's important here. Part of the reason we're doing this quick brain challenge is we know that challenge leads to real change. When you challenge yourself through struggle, your struggle by overcoming that struggle becomes a strength, or if you will, a superpower. And so what are you doing? You're testing your ability to be able to deal with what's uncomfortable. And as we talk about, if you're just doing the easy things, put things off, procrastinate, then life is difficult. If you do the easy things, life becomes difficult. But if you do the difficult things, you get yourself to do difficult things, you build your grit muscles, if you will, then it's gonna show up in a life that becomes easier. You know what I mean? Like when you're doing difficult things, you have that difficult conversation with somebody, you get yourself to work out, you get all the benefits of having an easier life, because life is not necessarily easier, it's just you are better. And so when you're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, like a cold shower, a cold bath, some of you do cryotherapy where you're in a, negative 230 degrees for 2.5 minutes. Obviously consult with your healthcare practitioner. You're putting yourself in a safe way in an uncomfortable situation. So you're building that ability, that fitness, if you will, to be able to show up and speak in public if you have a fear of public speaking, or to have that meeting, or to ask for that sale if you're an entrepreneur, or to do the thing as a parent that you need to do that you've been putting off. So again, you're building your grit. So again, reasons why you want to take a cold shower. Number one, lowers inflammation. Number two, it's like a big nervous system reset, which is great for your brain. And the third reason, you're training yourself first thing in the morning to do difficult things. So there's a science to momentum, and you get yourself to do difficult things, and then when you get to work, doing that difficult thing that you've been putting off, because I do believe that the treasure you seek is found. It's hidden in the tasks you are avoiding. So as you're getting yourself in the habit of creating new habits, because that's what we're doing with this challenge, you're gonna do it today or tomorrow, the next time you take a shower. Now, what specifically are you doing? You wanna build your way up to it. I'm not saying take a 2-minute cold shower because it's cold, it's uncomfortable. So baby steps, right? Every pro was once an amateur. And so every expert was once a beginner. So you go in and you just do 10 seconds. Maybe you do 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And also their health benefits, going from cold to hot. If you've gone to some of the spas, they have a cold plunge and then like a heated jacuzzi. So it increases your vascularity. And so it's building that pump, if you will. So go maybe 10 seconds cold, 10 seconds hot, warmer, 10 seconds cold, 10 seconds hot. And you can build yourself. I do my box breathing, my alpha breathing, my fire breathing, my Wim Hof breathing, and I push myself in a healthy, safe way.
Now I have a special bonus habit on how to get more quality sleep that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, from the 6 habits we've talked about today, which one do you need to most apply to your life right now? Let me know, put it down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, you're still here watching, I wanna celebrate you, because Believe Nation, we don't just watch videos, we do something about it. So if that's you and you commit, you promise you're gonna take action immediately after watching this video, give me a hashtag Believe down in the comments and tell me where you're from, because I want to celebrate you.
So I usually go to sleep around midnight, and I usually wake up around 7:30, 7:30, somewhere in there. That's a typical day. It gets thrown around every now and then, but that's kind of typical for me.
Okay, so as an entrepreneur, right, with like a crazy schedule, because I know you're such a schedule, like you have your set days on when you produce episodes, when you do your, public appearances, right, like with, Blab and just go on other people's podcasts. So like, how do you manage all that? How do you manage to really get enough sleep with all that crazy schedule?
Yeah, and I have an added thing where I have a really weak immune system. Like if I don't sleep 7 hours consistently, at least, I get sick. If I go 2 days in a row of bad sleep, I'm sick. You got a phone call there, bro.
It's supposed to be on mute.
Yeah, I get sick. And for people who've been watching my channel, there's a lot of videos where I'm sick, and it's often because of like either lack of sleep or just, at the dance studio, there's always lots of people, and you catch viruses. So I need sleep. If I don't get sleep one night, the next night has to be solid, or I know I'm going to be out.
So how do you ensure that you get your 7 hours then?
Yeah. So a couple things. I think some of them are basics that you probably heard before. Try to keep to the same time. Try not to eat like a heavy meal before going to sleep, because at least that keeps me up. I'm super sensitive to light, so I have a mask on that like if I travel and I forget my mask, I'm having terrible sleep. But some other things that may be a little different than what most people are doing. One, we have no electronics in the bedroom. So there's no cell phone in the bedroom. There's no iPad in the bedroom. There's nothing with a light, like if people stay up and read that like blue screen, and that just keeps you awake. And so our phones are plugged in outside the room. And so my wife has an alarm in the morning. She has to get up out of bed to go turn it off. There's nothing electronic in the room. So that one helps, because before we were kind of sitting in bed next to each other before we passed out. And I think one, it also kind of gives you a little more connection, because there's nothing to read. So you talk to your partner, right? Imagine that, talking to your wife before going to bed. But I think, you get so distracted by emails and news and stuff. So no electronics in the room. And that's helped both of us, I think, sleep. Two is, when I get an idea, I go and take care of it. So I'll get out of bed. Sometimes you go to bed with an idea like, I got a great idea for Julian's dance studio, man. And then you lie in bed trying to forget it and wrestling with it. And for me, it'll keep me up all night. And then I'm going to worry that I'm going to forget it, because I don't have a great memory. If I don't write it down, it's gone. And so I will get up and send that email off to Julian to tell him about what he needs to do for his dance studio, or whoever it is. And then it's like, it's released, because otherwise it stays with me and I have a terrible sleep. And so I'm not afraid to get up and out to solve whatever is kind of that monkey in my head that I need to release it. Having a routine to help you wind down, I find super helpful. So just like, when you're a kid, you have a routine that your parents give you, right? Like you have a bath and you brush your teeth and you get a bedtime story, and like you get used to that routine, and then that helps you, like, your body starts to shut down, right? And then we kind of lose a lot of that when we get into adulthood, and I used to find it really hard. Like I come back from my salsa studio after a great night, and I'd be wired, like talking to people, and like I just can't go to sleep right away, and so I need to create a schedule, a little routine to decompress a little bit. And so whatever it is for you, it's great. For me, we start by, I light a candle. So we have a candle. Since we don't have electronics in the room, we also turn off the lights. So I light a candle that's on my wife's side, and that's how I start. You know, I'll then open up the bed and like make space for both of us, and then go and like brush my teeth and just read some news to like decompress and get my mind off business. You know, floss, wash my face, go to bed, do some cuddling, and then go to sleep. And so it's like the same thing every night. And then as soon as I go to the bedroom to turn on the candles, I start
winding down,
decompressing, winding down, and then I start getting tired. And after like the 15, 20 minutes it takes me to do everything else, then I'm ready to go to sleep. So having that kind of routine, whatever it is for you, I find helps.
If you want even more habits to keep you healthy, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
It's really important for us to take on a learning role and say, I am creating this situation and I can uncreate this situation.